Am I live? So I get one question a lot in SketchUp, and if I go to my YouTube page here, or even if I just click on my little notification, here's this question. Let's just go to this video. This is a video.
So I thought I would continue on this little shed project. It's been a while.
Let me mute it just in case. And it's basically showing how to build a shed. And in that video, I copy and move and copy some studs. And this viewer, Mike Hood, asked, how do you paste on 16-inch centers for multiple like that? Okay, so I get this question a lot, and I also have customers at atdrafting.com. This is my drafting service website on how to use SketchUp just in general. So what I thought I would do is just go over the desktop version, which is here, and this is SketchUp Pro 2020. Okay, then I'll go back and show where those commands are on SketchUp for the web. SketchUp for the web is the free version. I'll just go ahead and start it up here. Now you have to have, you'll have to, I think, a Gmail email address to log in. I think I'm already logged in. Yeah, so you just click on Start Modeling, and then say model was found. No. Okay, then you'll just click on Start Modeling again, and you'll get this version. And you'll notice, and this is why I wanted to do this for my customers and for viewers in general, you'll notice that the toolbars are different. So I thought I would just start off and answer that guy's question, the viewer's question, with a simple demonstration. And it would be just building a wall from scratch. And so it might take a little time, but I think it's worth it. And one thing I meant to do was to check and see if someone could leave a comment as to whether the audio is okay, because I had to get a new computer because my other one was basically screwed up. It's embarrassing, but I screwed it up trying to put new memory, I think, in it. Anyway, so one of the most basic tools you'll use are the shapes, okay? Because we want to draw shapes, so we're going to use shapes. And then, of course, the way you get your toolbars is you can go View Toolbars, okay, and select them. But when SketchUp first opens, you'll have this very basic toolbar here at the top, and this is the large toolbar set on the side. So I like to have both of them because it has some more things like text and sections and all that. But we're just going to do the basic stuff because I think that's just, people want to just get started, They want an easy way to get started. So we're going to draw a wall, and this is very simple. I'm going to click on the shape. Okay. So I'm just going to start it anywhere. I'm just going to click, and then I'm going to start drawing a rectangle. Okay. Now I'm going to stop, and if you'll look down in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see dimensions. Okay. And so you'll notice that there's feet and inches separated by a comma. One of those is the length and one is the width. And so you can tell which is which by kind of playing around with, with your box. It will indicate. So what I normally do is if I want to draw something long and narrow, I will draw it kind of long and narrow, but I'm not going to click again. I'm going to enter the dimension. Okay. So it's saying 11 feet. So I need to enter I'm going to make it 12 feet. And then I'm going to type a comma. And then I'm going to type 3.5 because that's how wide a stud is. And that's one thing I want to mention here is if you're going to start modeling, draw things to their actual size. Please, for God's sakes. Don't just start drawing weird. Don't just say, oh, I want my wall to look like that. Okay? If you want your model, if you want your house to look realistic or whatever you're drawing, draw the actual size of things. Do some research and find out what things are actually sized at, okay? This is a tool to be used. Okay, so enough preaching. Okay, so I'm going to kind of get it like that angle, and then I'm going to use the push-pull tool. This is another tool you will use a lot. Okay, right here, it's like a little rectangle, a little square with a little arrow pointing up, because that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to select that face right there, and we're going to start pulling up. Okay, now don't click again. What you're going to understand is in detailed CAD work, you want to enter the dimension of something. You don't want to just randomly pull it up. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up and stop. I'm not going to click again. I'm going to enter 1.5 because that's how thick a 2x4 is. Okay, so we just drew a 2x4 12 feet long. It's 12 feet. Let's get the girl. I like you, girl, but you're gonna annoy me. The other thing well, I won't mess with that right now. Okay, so I've got a 2x4 12 foot long. Okay, next thing you do, and this right here is your axis that's showing. I usually turn it off, but I'm going to leave it on for your reference. Okay. The next thing you want to do is select that and right mouse click and create a group. Okay. Now you've got a 2x4 you can select and move around. Okay. Now let's do that same thing in SketchUp for the web. Can someone tell me whether my audio is working or not in the comments? Thank you, because it wasn't the last time. I'm going to go to SketchUp for the web, and I'm going to get my view the way I want it. And the way I do that is there's a little orbit tool down here on the left. Okay, and don't worry about the pop-outs. This is one thing that kind of distracts you. Unless you need one of those tools, just select the orbit and just go on for now. Now you're going to select the shape tool. The shape tool for the web version is right here. It says rectangle. Okay. Again, ignore that. Just start drawing. Again, we're going to go out here and type 12 feet, which is 12 comma. 12 apostrophe, then comma, 3.5. Now, the thing is in SketchUp, in the architectural template, it assumes that you're entering inches. So if I type 3.5, that's 3.5 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to look for my push-pull. And really, they've got all the most common tools. Okay, and right here is the push-pull tool on the web version. Okay, again, ignore the little pop-up. Just drag it up and don't click again, but then type 1.5. Okay, now one thing I've never done is create a group. Well, obviously, we're going to be able to create a group. Okay, so that was pretty simple. All those commands are over here. And on the desktop version, they're right up here. Let's see if there's any comments. I'm going to do away with that window. Working. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. That was kind of you because this whole time I've been wondering whether it's working. Last time I was roboting like crazy and the audio was going in and out. Now we're going to create a stud. Okay. Now let's just start one on the edge here. Again, I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle, but I'm not going to click. I'm going to start. Let me do that again. You see the little point where I'm referencing that corner? Start there and drag your don't click again. Just drag it down. Okay. Don't click again. Okay, I usually can get this pretty close just by guessing, but okay, so now you look at your bottom right hand corner and it says 3.5, which is right, by 1 3/16. But what we're going to say is 3.5 by 1.5. Okay, now before you go any further, just grab that little box, and the reason you can do that without grabbing any of this other stuff is because you already made that a group, okay? So now you're starting to organize your drawing, and we're going to make this a group, okay? Now I'm going to double click on it. Okay, I'm going to take my push-pull tool. I'm just going to start pulling it up, and here again, important tip: a stud for an 8-foot wall is 92 5/8. Now, see, the cool thing about SketchUp is you can enter 92 space 5/8, and that's 92 5/8. Okay, boom. Now we have a stud that's 92 5/8. Why does that matter? Why does it matter to make it 92 5/8, which is the correct size? We're gonna make it. I already made it a group, so I was ahead of myself. So the reason I made it a group down there when it was small is because it's easier to select. So now we're getting closer to answering this guy's question. I just wanted to go through some of these tools. Now let's go to and this may seem redundant, but I'm going to go to the web version. I'm back for SketchUp for the web. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. I'm going to get this first. I'm going to get this view. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Get my rectangle tool. I'm going to enter 3.5, comma 1.5. Okay. I'm going to get my push-pull tool. I'm going to bring it up 92 space 5-8, 92 5/8. Now, I'm going to get my selection tool, my little pointer. I'm going to grab that and make it a group. Now, actually what I'm going to do is make these a component. Okay, is that 92 5/8? There's a little measuring tape right there too. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a component. Okay, I'm just going to call it stud. You don't really have to name it. I've never actually had to use the names before, but it's probably not a bad idea. And then I'm going to go back to the desktop version. I'm going to right mouse click and make this a stud. Okay. Now, why is that important? I've drawn whole houses before, and the customer wanted to change their studs from 8-foot studs to 9-foot studs. Okay, so a 9-foot stud is a 104 5/8. Now, you may wonder why, and I'll show you this right quick. The reason a stud is 92 5/8, and the reason it is important to draw it accurately is because you want your wall to be the right height, first of all. And second of all, we have standards, okay? So I'm going to cheat, and what I did was, I'm going too fast, I caught myself. Okay, so this command, we're going to use it for the first time. You see this move command right here? It's actually move copy. If you hover over it, you can see it's move copy. So what I'm going to do is take my little pointer, I'm going to select it. Now I'm holding down the control key. Okay, I'm going to select that corner. I'm going to hold down the control key, and now I'm just going to move it up here. Okay, I'll do it again. You see, you want to use points of reference too. You don't want to just, if I was down here and I just selected this, and I just selected it anywhere like that, and I pushed it now when I bring it up here, how am I gonna how am I going to place it in the right spot, right? So you want to use reference points. I'm just going to delete that stud. I'm going to go ahead and move. I'm just going to move something this time. So I'm going to grab that. It's highlighted in blue, and I'm going to slide it back 3.5, and I'll show you why later. Okay. And so we kind of get to this point now where the guy was asking me about the stud copy. Now, this is a little bit tricky. It's not tricky, it's just you got to play with it a few times. Let's go to the version for the web. And this may get a little boring going back and forth, but I want people to show that there's all the functions are here. Now, where is now? Okay, so now I gotta find, oh, there it is, move. All right, so I'm gonna go in. I've already selected this. Actually, I want to do my plate, so I'm gonna select it there. I'm gonna choose that corner right there. That's my reference point. I touch the control key to copy it, not just move it. And then I'm going to select that corner right there. Then I'm going to hold the control key down again and click. You don't have to keep holding the control key down. You just have to hold it down while you click. I'm going to put it right here. Then I'm going to move. I didn't touch the control key this time. I just want to move it. I don't want to copy it. I just want to move it. Okay, so that's where we are now in the desktop. I'm sorry, the SketchUp for the web version. Okay, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to select this stud, and this gets back to, finally, sorry it took so long, how to copy things, numbers of things. Like if I wanted to do, 10 studs. Okay, so let's say this wall has nothing in it but just studs. Let's make it easy. So I'm going to select it. Okay. Now I'm going to choose my move tool, which is really move and copy. I'm going to select that point right there. Okay. Now you see, if I didn't push the control key, you see I could just start moving it, right? I want to touch the control key once. Okay, and that gave me a copy of it. Okay. Now, I'm just going to start moving it. One thing you got to realize in SketchUp is don't just keep clicking, okay? Click once and then do something and then click again. So, you might have the tendency to click again, but don't do that. Just start moving the stud in the direction you want it to go. This is really important because if you don't move it in the right direction, and I'll just give you an example. If I were to put it right here and then say times 12, look, it's going to start going off into space. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to move it. I selected it, wrong thing. And this is what you'll do. You'll make a lot of mistakes before you get the hang of it. You'll select your the item you want to move. Select the corner. Okay, I touch the control key out of habit. I'm going to move it in the direction I want it to go. On the axis, you see the red axis? And that's what these axis colors are for. See that? I'm on the green axis now. You see? And now I'm going to be on the red axis. Okay, I'm not going to click again. Okay, I could go anywhere I want to go. I could just put it as long as it's on the axis. Okay. Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to go and I'm going to let's see. I'm going to type 16. Okay. Now, before you do anything else, and this is the tendency people have, is they want to click right here. Don't click. Don't do anything else. Just type an asterisk. Can't say it. That's your times, and then the number of times you want to do it. 10, I'm just going to guess right now. Okay, now you see what happened? let's back up so we can see it. Okay, so I'm gonna get back here as far as I can and still be able to see the corner. So I selected the Move Copy tool. I'm selecting that corner. You always want to have a reference point, okay? I can't stress this enough because you want accuracy in your drawing, and the way you get accuracy is use reference points, okay? So I'm going to, I held down the Control key. I'm just going to move it. I could move it all the way to the end of the wall if I wanted to, as long as I was on that axis, okay? Now I'm just going to type 16, enter. Okay, that put it at the proper spacing, times 10, I'm going to say 9 this time, 9. Okay, boom, that's it. Now, I'm going to go down here, since I want my wall to be 12 feet. Let's go, I'm pretty sure I got to move these back. So, in construction, what we really want when we do our layout is we want this to be 15 1/4. Okay, and how did I get that? What is it? Yeah. What you really want, and I probably screwed that up. What you really want is you want this mark, this first layout mark, to be 15.25. Okay, so it's probably, again, accuracy, okay, because that's going to place this. Did I make this 1.5 inches? Yep. And you want to check all this before you start drawing an entire house, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take that. Now I have a reference point, okay? I'm going to put it right there. I clicked because I had a reference point. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to type asterisk, which is Shift 8 times 9. Okay. Now the reason is you're doing this is because especially if this is a corner, and I'll show you how to make a corner in a minute, is if I go 8 feet, you want your first piece of plywood. I'm sorry. Why do I feel like this is something's weird? 4 feet. Did I not select the right template? This is bizarre. What did I do? It should be 16. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, I know what it is. I should have done. I gotcha. You see, this is what what'll get you. Okay. I used 15 1/4 instead of 16. Your first stud should be at 15 1/4, and then go 16 inches. Okay. And I'm going to show you 16. Now you can go 16. It's just like if you were using it with your tape measure. I'm going to do times 8 this time. Okay. The whole point of this is, the reason you're laying this out this way is that when you put up a 4x8 sheet of plywood, 48, it should be in the center of that stud, okay? What I did was, the mistake I made was I went 15 1/4, and then I copied the rest of them at 15 1/4 too. I didn't change it. And that's why, your layout, because, if we were doing this in real life, we would have, our plate would have a little mark on it, and then there would be an X there. Right? That would tell us which side of the line to be on. Okay? And we would go through the same process. Our tape measure, we would have marked the first one at 15 1/4 and what we call set ahead. Okay? So I would have put my little, mark right there at 15 1/4. I would have put an X there. Then I would have drove myself a little nail right here to hook my tape over. Then I would have gone 16 inches. Okay? So these are things you just kind of have to get used to in the real world from experience, And So anyway, let's finish. Let me see if I have any comments. Hello, Richard. I'm trying to do some. I had a customer and a commenter ask me about the move copy command, and it kind of seems kind of weird at first. It takes a little bit to get used to it, but what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move this stud back, okay, to there. Now what I'm going to do is make a corner. I'm also going to move this. I'm going to move this back. Oops. You double click to edit a group, double click on it, and then I'm going to grab the push pull tool. I'm going to push this back to there. The neat thing about the push pull tool is that you can reference other things, right? So I want that to be flush with that. And then what I'm going to do is push it back 3.5. Okay. And again, we'll find out why in a minute. Now, let's see, our pesky corners. And we don't believe in California corners. We use real corners. So I'm not going to get into politics, but the artisans use real corners that we've used for 40 years. And so to do that, I'm just going to copy. Oops, I pushed the shift key instead of the control key. See, I've been doing this for 20 years in SketchUp came out in 2000. Yeah, almost 20 years, and I still screw up. I'm going to copy it there, then I'm going to move it. I'm not hitting the control key. I'm just going to move it over 1.5 inches, okay? And then what I'm going to do is create myself some little blocks, and I'm just going to do that here. Easy, fast way. Well, that's what happens when you type in the wrong number first. I'm just going to make them 10 3/4, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Because that's what's left over when you cut your blocks for your jacks and headers. I'm going to make a group. I'm going to spin it around. Figures I get laryngitis. Rotate command is right here. You just get your axis right. You see how it changes colors? Green. If I use the green axis, it rotates it that way. If I use the blue axis, it will rotate it this way. I'm just going to rotate it 90. It's important to use, type in your values, because I've rotated things before and they be a little off. So we got a block there. I'm going to copy this one up here. And this is how you make your corners. And again, there's no waste in this at all, because these blocks come from your now what you can do is you can nest components inside components. So let's say I want to delete this end stud down here, because now I'm getting smart. I'm gonna grab this whole thing, and I'm gonna make this a component, and I'm gonna call it a corner. That's really all you have to do, is just type yourself a little name in there. Now I can copy that. Roger, Richard gets that joke. Copy that, Roger. He was in the, or it was SAS, Richard. Well, I'm getting behind in the in this version. I think what I'll do is in here I'll just kind of show you that all of these tools, and what you do is, if you want a tool that's not shown, you just click on it and they'll pop out. But to use these tools, you don't have to wait or anything for that pop out. Just grab it and go. I do know they got a better looking girl in the SketchUp for the web version than the desktop version. I'm not sure why that is. Oops, I still have that selected. Undo. Now let me give you an example of what happened, why you want to make components. Okay, and it's very simple to do. You saw me do it with a click. Let's say you had a customer and you framed up an entire house in SketchUp, and they said, oh, I want 9-foot ceilings on the first floor, and you got 1,000 of these studs already made. Just go in there, select this, and then do your push-pull tool up 12 inches. That should be 104 5/8. Yep. Okay. So you see all of the studs popped up, right? Because you made that a component. You didn't have to go edit every stud, and even now watch this. Since my corners are components, I can just raise this up, and I can even say, well, I'd like to have, we usually put 4 blocks in a 9-foot corner, okay? Well, what happened down here? Ooh, that corner changed too. Now all I have to do is grab my plates and move them up, okay? Very simple change as far as the wall framing goes, okay? Now, in today's residential market, you'll typically find 9-foot studs on the first floor and 8-foot studs on the second floor, but in spec houses, a lot of times you'll see them on the first floor too. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this whole thing just to show you why. I just copied it. I touched the control key using the move command. I'm going to use the rotate command, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. You see, here's a good example of why if just typing in the value is the best thing to do. Okay, and since all that stuff is still selected, I'm just going to move it right here for now, and I'm going to change this because you don't have corners on both walls when they intersect. You just have a stud there. So what I'm going to do is copy that stud, copy that. I know that joke gets old. Now on this wall, instead of the plate, oops, I still have that selected. I'm going to select the top plate. Now this one, instead of setting back, it'll hang over 3.5, 3.5. Okay. And now normally what I'll do is I'll create a group out of the wall. Actually, I don't do that. I create a group out of all the walls, and this is something you can decide for yourself. This one will butt into that, just like that. Okay, you see? Now this is why wood framing is so strong. When you overlap that plate and you nail down into this other wall, you will see how strong that is. This is why wood frame buildings don't fall down in earthquakes. Usually won't in tornadoes either if you've got them built properly. Okay, so there's 2 walls in a corner. And what commands do we go through? The lines, let's say, lines are just typically, if I wanted to draw, a line, whatever. If I wanted to just if you wanted to be inefficient, you could draw a stud. You could just click anywhere, start drawing on the green axis, 3.5. Let's zoom in a little bit. And then, you could find your red axis and then go 1.5. Then you could go back to now one thing about SketchUp is if you're on that green axis, once you get on the axis that you're supposed to be on, you hold the shift key down and that will lock it. That locks the aft axis. See what I'm doing? It's locked. Now I can just reference this point right here, and that'll be the right line. And then boom, I just drew. There's another 2 before. And I'm gonna make this one 104 and 5/8. That'll be a 9-foot stud. And see, that's the thing. You could have yourself a library. A lot of people will do this. They will have themselves a library. Well, I could have just made it a group. When you make it a component, it makes it a group and a component at the same time. Stud. You could just call this, you could come up with a naming convention. stud 9 foot, stud 9 or stud 8, whatever you want to say. And you can have yourself a library of just building parts. I don't know why I've never done that, to be honest with you. I like starting from scratch a lot of times because after I get through framing a house, building a house, it's in my head. Once you do this, let me see, are there any other questions? Roger. If you go through this trouble, you will be so intimate with your building, your home or whatever you're building. A lot of times when you go out to build it, you won't even need drawings, I promise you. If you plan your projects this well and you gain this knowledge of materials, how long studs are, all your standards, you could build things without drawings. It's just in your head. I don't know how many times I've gone out to projects like the ones we're building now. This one. Oh, this is temp. Let's call it. Save your drawing. Don't make the mistake of not saving it. Now here I'm working on some siding schemes, but when we started this house, I can tell you right now, let's turn off the siding. I really didn't mean to get on this tangent, but I just wanted to show you wall sheeting. Let's just delete. I'm not going to save this. I'm going to delete a bunch of junk. And then I'm going to turn on. Let's see. What's a dimension? Well, I can get close on any of these dimensions. I know that it's about 68 feet from here to the end of the house. I deleted everything. What I was trying to do was get to the floor trusses. And I deleted too much stuff. Well, let's do it this way. Is the floor trusses on? Oh, that's what it is. They're not on. Anyway, that was a futile exercise right there. But let me go back to my little drawing. No, I don't want to save that. So the main reason I made this video is for the guy, this guy. And I'll do this from time to time. If I get these questions enough, I'll make these little videos. This guy was wondering, how do you do the paste on 16-inch centers for multiple like that? And I forgive the grammar. I know what he meant, so I'm just kidding. And that's what I did here. And just to do it again, for people who've just joined possibly, I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to select that corner. Now see, if I didn't hit the control key, I would just start moving it, but I'm going to tap the control key, and I just made a copy of it. So I'm going to type in 16 for the distance, and then before I do anything else, I'm going to type asterisk. How do you say that, Richard? Asterisk times, whatever, 12, and boom, there you go. It's got 12 studs. And you would think, honestly, I don't really blame the guy for asking this question, because I remember thinking, okay, what's the sequence again? You have a tendency to click a lot when you're, since you have a mouse and you want to go, oh, I'm gonna click out here. I'm gonna touch, and then I'm gonna click. The minute you click again, you ruined it. See, because I'm going to type 16. Now that will adjust it. Now can you do times 12? Watch it. Yeah, you can do it as long as you don't start doing anything else. But people get a little bit confused on that for some reason. I don't know. Now that I know how, it seems easy to me. But I'm not going to criticize anybody for that one, because that one was a little bit confusing for me. So, but the main thing I wanted to show people was, let me show you why, and you all watching may know why. why it's so critical to draw things the actual size. And the reason I say this, because if you go into 3D Warehouse and look at people's models that they upload, some of them are horrendous because they won't draw things the actual size. So I'm going to draw this sheet of OSB. I'm going to draw it 48 inches wide times 96 inches tall. See, and since now see if I want to redo that. I want to make all my walls a group, okay? And the reason, I'm going to show you why in a second. I'm going to make that a group. Now, the main reason is because now I can draw things over that, and I don't have to worry about selecting them, okay? Because I'll show you why. If I want to draw a piece of OSB here, I'm going to start that corner, and I'm just going to bring it up here kind of basically where I know it kind of goes, but that's not exactly right, so I'm going to type in 48, 96, okay? And OSB is 7/16 of an inch thick, so I'm going to grab my push-pull tool. I'm just going to bring it out 12 inches, and then I'm going to type in 7/16. All right, now what I can do, I'm going to delete this stuff because it's annoying me. Now I can just grab that whole sheet, and you see how I'm not grabbing other things because that's a group, and that's how you manage your drawing. I'm going to make a group out of this. I'm actually going to make a component, and I'm going to call it OSB. Now, it's not a good idea, actually, to do that. It's better just to make it a group, and I'll show you why. Because when you start doing a lot of sheets of OSB, and say I want ×3. See, I just copied that sheet, and I could have just done 2. But you see, but if this, since this wall was 12 feet, I kind of made 12 feet on purpose, but if this wall was not 12 feet, let's say it was 2 inches less, I can just double click on that piece of OSB and adjust it back 2 inches, and it won't affect these other 2 sheets. So some things kind of make sense to things that you're not going to custom change, on an individual basis. You want to make components like studs and things like that. But for something like, OSB, you might want to just leave it a group. Okay. And then the bad part about that is, let's say I want to start giving my studs some character, and I go in here and I want to say this is under materials. Why is that such a large thing? Let's move this up. Under material, I'm just going to select some random, oh shoot, wood. Where's wood? Here we go. I don't know. Let's just pick any old thing. Okay. I'm going to select all the faces. Well, you don't have to do that. I think I can just, yeah. You see, now why is that not I made that a component, did I not? Yeah. Why? Don't start making me look weird. Yeah, okay, I see what happened. You gotta go into the component and edit it. I'm gonna undo that. So basically what I did was I just put a face on the outside of it. You wanna go in and select all the faces, and you'll know when you're doing it because all your components will light up like that, or highlight, and then just see. And so I just changed all my studs at once. That's the other thing. If I want to do that with a piece of OSB now, I can change, there is OSB here. I can do that, but they don't all change. So you want to kind of get your OSB where you want it before you start copying it around. Otherwise, you're going to have to go to all your sheets and edit them individually, like that. So I know I realize this probably went a little further, but here's the thing. The reason it matters is, like, I've gone into some drawings before and I don't like that. I'm gonna change that back. That's a weird. That is a weird. I'm gonna make it match that again. So what was I gonna say? Oh, the reason it matters is because, and I have people complain about me talking about this before, honestly, and I don't really get it. They're like, oh, what difference does it make if I draw my studs 8 feet long or not? Well, I'll show you why it matters. Okay, if you don't care that your drawing's not accurate, let's let me grab this, and I'm going to just pull it up to here. Okay, and then we're going to move these plates up to there. Now, guess what? Now it snowballs on you. Okay, now I've got a wall that's not the right height, and my plywood's not even going to work. My OSB's not going to work. Okay, that's why it matters. Accuracy matters, because now when you draw this house, this entire house, and somebody looks at it and they go, oh, that's scale. I like the scale of that, right? Well, how do you know if you haven't drawn your studs to the right length to begin with? How can you give somebody a sense of scale if you haven't drawn the building materials accurately? So that's a little bit of preaching, I know, and I apologize, but that's why. Okay, if you want to be if you just want to be an artist and you want to represent something, that's fine. But it's going to be hard for you to reproduce that in real life unless you put some accuracy into your models. And I left the axis on, but what I usually do is I'll go into the drawing style and I'll turn that off because it honestly annoys me. So I know the people watching may not be, but do you have any questions before I go? I was trying to make a quick, let's see. What I was trying to do is show people, my customers, and that guy was asking about copy, move copy. I was trying to show them that they can use this is a free version of SketchUp. Otherwise, it's $300 or $400 for the pro version. So the way you would do it is, what I do is I upload their model. Like if I want to just upload this, I would go to 3D Warehouse and I would click, I will just do it for the fun of it. Okay. Just say yes, okay, whatever. And I'm just going to say wall test. Okay. Wall test. And I'm going to upload it. Okay, then I'm going to go, it's going to say sprinkling some magic and all that. I'm going to close that out, and hopefully it'll be there by the time I get back over here. Now I'm going to go over here, and over here you've got the options of entity info. That's this. That entity info, if I grab something, like right here, if I grab that stud and you look under entity info, it will tell you how many studs you have in the model. It says 21 of them. And so that's a handy feature. This is what that database is, what those extensions that do material lists for you, that's what they grab. You can see there's 21 of them. You can see the volume and all that. So that's that. And here we've got outliner, which I don't use. What's this? Instructors, rarely used. 3D Warehouse, okay? So, and this is components, okay? So if you go to 3D Warehouse, that little button right there, and you search for wall test, and you click on this model. You see the little model button. These are these are categories. So I've made that mistake before, where I was clicked on this. What is that? Anyway, that's weird. It says it's empty. But if you click on the little model button, the little cube, it'll give you see someone else's name, their drawing wall test. And then, but here's ours, so we would just download it, and then we would click it into the drawing. Okay, and then we would take our orbit tool, and we could just look around, and we would first thing you want to do is take your selection tool there, and then I would just explode it, because just explode it once, and that'll keep all the groups that we had in the actual drawing. So see. Alright, so let me go back. Any questions? I know this was probably boring to people that were watching, but I wanted to do that. It wasn't that quick, was it? For the viewer that asked the question, and to show my customers that I can upload your drawings to this version of SketchUp for the web. You can even save it under your own logins, your projects. Okay, once you download that into that view, you can save it, and it's normally not that slow. But so it's a handy tool. I mean, if you've got, like me, I have an older laptop where I'll take it out to the job, and I pull these up, and I can refer to this, and I can say, hey Paco, that wall is 8 foot 1 1/8. I can tell him how long it is, right? And just all the information we need, and it really comes in handy when we start doing roofs and stairs and things like that. I can save him a lot of time, just so that he doesn't have to figure out rafter lengths and that kind of thing, and riser heights for stairs, all that good stuff. So anyway, that is that, unless somebody has a question. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks, guys.